Hey guys, what's up? It's Deprimido. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here in FL Studio and I'm going to be breaking down Comethazine type beats, specifically the beats from his latest album. These beats are pretty simple, there's not too much going on in them, they're really just kind of bare bones, but they still sound good, they make good songs, so you can't really complain. So starting off with the tempo, these beats are going to be a little bit slower, usually in the 125 to 155 range. So for your main melody, you're going to want to go with a sound that isn't too realistic. You can use synthesized versions of real sounds like flutes and stuff like that work good, but you don't want it to sound really like a real instrument. You're going to want these sounds to be pretty dry, so you can use things like synth leads that don't have any like crazy reverb or delay on them, bells, flutes, and keys. So for me, I started off with this Redtron flute. I just laid out this pattern right here. It's really simple and really bouncy. We've got a couple interesting things going on with the rhythm, but overall it's just really simple. You want to make these melodies a little bit repetitive and kind of with a dark sound, but you don't want it to be super crazy. This is what it sounds like. So one thing to note in these melodies, considering music theory, is kind of just how you want to place your notes. So you can see these two are a half step apart, and if we bring this down an octave, these two are a half step apart. Now what that does is it just kind of creates a darker feeling, and that's definitely something that you want. Then also just take into consideration, you want it to be relatively repetitive, but you don't want it to sound that way, so you just want to add in things every couple of bars that change it up a little bit, like I have here and here. That way it doesn't get super stale while it's looping throughout the song. Next, getting into the counter melody, a lot of these songs don't even have counter melodies. The melodies are really simple, but if you do want to use a counter melody, things like bells, synth leads, and strings are a good option. Again, just make sure you keep it really simple. You don't want it to stand out too much from the rest of the melody. Next, I used hybrid and I got this bell and I just laid out this pattern right here. As you can see, it's very simple, and again, we're using a lot of those half steps. Then I just inverted a few notes to make it a little bit more interesting, and then I changed it up a little bit at the end, but still really simple. It sounds like this. And that's all I'm going to do for the melody. Really quickly before we get into the drums, please make sure you go and follow me on Instagram. When I reach 2,000 followers, I'm dropping a free MIDI kit. Also subscribe here on YouTube if you're enjoying the video. I'm dropping a free loop kit when I get to 400 subscribers. You can also check out my 300 subscriber loop kit, which is linked down in the description. So getting into the drums, let's start with this hi-hat pattern. As you can see, I went kind of crazy with the rolls, but it is just based off of a two-step pattern. Since the melodies in these beats are really simple and they're not super rhythmic, you can kind of go a little bit crazier with the drums and get away with it. This is where the main bounce of your beat is going to come from, so make sure that you get this right. This is what it sounds like. Next, I added this snare. You aren't going to hear a whole lot of claps in these beats, it is mostly snares. Next, getting into the 808, you're going to want something that's nice and short. You're going to kind of want a thuddy sound too as well. You're not going to want anything that's super distorted. Something like this is a good choice. For your 808 pattern, you're going to want to keep it pretty simple. You don't want to do anything too complicated, but you do want to make sure that it's really bouncy. This is what mine sounds like. Next, I just layered the 808 pattern onto a kick and I took out the rolls at the end. If you're using 808 rolls, you pretty much never want to have those on the kick. It doesn't sound good to have it on the kick, and you just don't want to do that. You just want to leave it on the 808. Next, I just added this hi-hat right here. Very simple pattern. It sounds like this. Then I just put this open hat on one. Then I threw on this really standard accent snare pattern. Sounds like this. And this is all I'm going to add to the beat, so next let's get into the mix. If you guys want to see how I mix my beats, I will link my mixing tutorial up in the card in the corner. So this is what my mix looks like. It's really simple. The only effect that I'm using is fruity convolver. I just threw this onto the flute so that it wasn't cutting off immediately and so that it just had a little bit more of a sustain to it. And that's the only other effect I used. Then I just leveled it, which is pretty simple. So that's pretty much all I'm doing to this beat. So now I'm just going to lay it out and I'll play it at the end of the video. But first I'd like to thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Please make sure you go check me out on Instagram. As I said, I'm dropping a free MIDI kit when I reach 2,000 followers, as well as a free loop kit when I reach 400 subscribers here on YouTube. Also, if you're interested in supporting me and getting more content, you can go check me out on Patreon. There's a lot of cool stuff over there. You get my Academy drum kit for free. You get my entire spreadsheet that has all of my type beat characteristics on it. You also get to vote on who I do for these videos. So definitely go check that out. I think it's definitely worth it. It's only a couple of bucks a month and it helps me out a lot. But yeah, that's about it. So thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it and I'll talk to you all in the next video.
How did Deprimido make this slap so hard?